Good afternoon and welcome to episode number 6 of Sunday at the Inn. I've got Rich here with me. This is just a brief update from the INN to let you know what we've been up to. Obviously, the streams have sort of been put on the back burner for a little while for good reason, which we're going to go into in a few minutes. But first of all, obviously, let's say hello to our good friend Richard.
Hello, good evening, everybody. As Joe said, we're back after a bit of a delay, but we just thought we'd give you a quick update on what's been happening, why we've not been doing much streaming, and what's going forward in the future.
Absolutely, and what an exciting time it really is. What a better time to have a sit down and talk about what we've been up to and what's coming up in the future, because it's especially for my time that I've been involved in sort of politics and the political sphere, I guess. It's never been so exciting, not in such a way of the online movement, but the actual boots on the ground, people getting out there into the sunshine and attending these demos and events is really good, and the amount of stuff that's going on as well. There's virtually something going on either every week or every other week at the moment, isn't there, Rich?
Yeah, that's certainly a lot of the reason why we've been quiet on the streaming side because throughout April and the first couple of weeks in May, we literally hadn't had a weekend off. In fact, we've had activists out 2 days over a weekend sometimes. So it's been an extremely busy time doing IRL stuff, which is what we want, and it takes precedence over doing streams. If we have to be honest about that. It's more important than doing streams. So that's why we've been so busy. That's why we haven't been around as much because it's difficult. Because we work, we've got families, and it's difficult to find that the time to do everything. But as I say, we always put priority on IRL activism.
Absolutely, always, yeah, because it's the change in determining factor, isn't it? And what I'm seeing a lot of as well, which is really sort of inspiring, is people really stepping out of their comfort zones with these things, and it really does. It pushes you to want to do a little bit more and maybe do something that you wouldn't feel, normally very comfortable with. I did my maiden speech, didn't I, at Skegness,
Mm.
and that's something that I wouldn't necessarily, step up and do. But you feel at these times that well, this is the time, isn't it? You have to get out of your shell and stand up for what you believe in. Otherwise, it's all for nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And you did a good job of it for the first time to stand up in front of a group of people. I mean, it's something that I've done once or twice back in the day, but no, you did well, mate. You got up and you spoke from the heart, which is I always advise anybody who's speaking, don't worry about writing the perfect speech. Get up and speak from the heart.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. I have a bit of a stage thing. It's very strange. Have you ever walked into a lamppost and that sort of shock that sort of hits you? I had that sort of feeling when I stepped up to the mic and it all seemed like a really good idea until that microphone was in front of my mouth. I sort of went, oh, what am I doing? But yeah, like you say, it went okay. And what we do is from the heart, and we do this because we believe in it and because we have a deep love for our people and a deep love for our country. So it's not that hard to talk about it, is it, when you start going, which is which is
Yeah,
nice, which tells me why the left always seem to scream the same three sentences over and over again, because they don't actually have the ability to conjure up anything of more substance. But
very,
yeah,
very true. Very
so
true. It's about knowing what you want to, knowing what you're talking about, and that's why the left struggle. But it's knowing what you're talking about and speaking from the heart. It comes across as a lot more genuine, and you genuinely come across as a genuine guy, Joe. I believe anyway. Said that to you privately, and I'll say it on air.
yeah, I mean, we just try our best, don't we, matey? If we can
Mm.
if we can do some good, then I'm happy with that. Absolutely. But yeah, the Skegness protest was really good, wasn't it? The march going through the town, everyone was clapping, and it felt very patriotic, and the speeches were very good afterwards, and yeah, it was great that there were families there and kids, and it was all very kind of very inclusive and very opposite to what the media would portray as usually, which was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a scooter rally there that weekend, wasn't there? So the place was absolutely packed, and the streets were packed, and it was, and people were, there were sort of like mods, the old sort of mods. They were more, they were like more, my sort of age group people, really, and a bit below, and they were clapping us and all sorts and cheering. It really did feel good. It really did feel good. It was a very positive experience, to be fair.
Yeah, you really see that silent majority come out, don't you? You know,
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's when you see it, and they appreciated what we were doing. I mean, they're there for their own reasons. You know, they weren't there. They didn't turn up for our protest, but they were there. But they appreciated it, and we got good support. And there wasn't much of a showing from the left either. What was there? About 20 of them, the
if
usual
that,
suspects. You know.
yeah, and to be, they don't even seem to have. I don't know. I always had this view of them that they were really kind of hardcore and really going for it. But I don't know. I see this sort of this. I don't know. A lot of them are just smiling and sort of just kind of normal people. It's almost as if they've been paid to be there and they're not actually there for any kind of ideological sort of difference or whatever. They just seem to be there now. You know, it's just become sort of the standard, you know, status quo for them to turn up to things and just shout the same sentences over and over again,
Yeah.
which typically just get quite boring, you know. But yeah, I mean, as you know, as per the future and sort of the aims of what we aim to do over the next kind of 6 months or whatever is increase the optics and the, you know, the professionalism of these demos, and hopefully obviously start getting better turnouts and that sort of thing, you know. And we, you know, not that we try and go out of our way to sort of to speak to the police as much as possible, but you know, when we do speak to them, actually their opinion of our protests and the way that we conduct ourselves is actually very high. You know, that I, you know, when sort of dealing with them, we actually get commended on our, you know, on the way that we are and the way that we conduct ourselves. So that's a positive thing, and I think it's something that we should continue to strive to be better and better at. You know, they're going to find it very hard to difficult to argue with us when we present ourselves so well. You know.
Yeah, and I think going forward, the most important thing is to engage the local people in that area, and get them on board before the protest, um, because I think that's extremely important. We saw it at one of the demonstrations we went to at Cannock,
That's right. Yeah.
where there were several hundred locals turned up, and I think sometimes in order to facilitate that, we political organisations maybe need to take a back seat. I don't mean not be there, but maybe not try and push ourselves quite to the forefront. Let the local protests be led by the locals. We can get up and do the speaking and help them organise it, but at the same time, I don't think we should be thinking of ourselves like some white knights charging in and saving them. I think that can rankle and rub people up the wrong way. And I think one
Completely agree.
organisation in particular came unstuck the second time round in Cannock with that mentality.
Yeah, and then you see the sort of difference in the impact that that has, which should be, you know, because we've got to keep looking back to the reason why we're there. You know, put everything else aside. The, you know, the objective is to get these things shut down, and not just shut down to have them move somewhere else, but to actually come up with a solution that involves them not being here at all. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I think
you
well, we've
know,
got to think to
for
ourselves.
that to get lost in the motion is a real tragedy, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've got to remember that the victory is the victory of our people. It's our people being saved. It's not the victory of an individual organisation managing to promote itself.
Yeah,
Whilst I can understand organisations wanting to promote themselves, I think what we cannot lose sight of the fact that this is a much wider struggle than one organisation. And if
absolutely.
we're going to bring more people on board and get bigger crowds and bigger people on crowd, we've got to perhaps just be a bit more subtle about our approach.
I would
That's my
agree.
feeling. That's
Yeah,
my
I
feeling.
would agree. I mean, I think that there's such The narrative has been painted for such a long time that I mean, I can sort of be, open enough about this that, we had a really good relationship with a few of the truth movements and, with the anti-vax sort of people and whatever, and we're working really hard together and really good results off the back of it. But as soon as the media narrative came in and, and certain people started whispering in their ears, oh, you're working with the racists and you don't want to be called racist as well, do you? You don't want to screaming Nazi at you down the road. And unfortunately, that allows people to, well, I mean, that kind of pressure can be a bit too much for some people sometimes. And, it forces people to, what's the word for it, to compromise, you know? And you just compromise and compromise and compromise until the point where you're not working with anyone anymore, and you just deteriorate. And that's their plan. Their plan is to divide everyone, and whatever differences that they have between themselves, they lean on those differences, and it becomes a weakness. And there you go. You suddenly see two organizations that can't work together anymore because of what? Because of naughty words. It's just no. It's absolutely daft, and it's no reason for anything to ever fall apart. So my argument would be that the people who are working on these protests or organizing, it should be agreed amongst the heads of those people, whoever it is that has influence with the local people, or whether it's an organizational standpoint, it should be agreed whether, if individual organizations should be allowed to unveil banners for photos and in front of these people because of the association issues, and which I completely understand, or why not just all stand under Great British flags? For those days that, why can't we just all agree that no promotion of any organization? We are here for the simple fact that we want to win on this particular issue. So therefore we are standing under this flag, and that's it,
Yeah, I think as well. I mean, one point to make on this is, and it's we should never apologise for who we are ever, and I'm never ever suggesting that we apologise, say, for being nationalists. But if you remember when we were on the Richard Vogue show, off air, I made a comment and he said, "Oh, can I write that down? Can I use that one?" And what I said to him was, we can all worry about how we run the country when we've won it back." And this is the point. We have to attend the fight at hand and stop worrying about the details that don't matter at the moment, like what we'd do if we got in charge, how we'd organise this. Let's win this battle first. Because at the end of the day, if we lose, all these differences we now have, all these little minor quirks and differences we think we have, will mean nothing when we're all languishing in the same gulag. It'll mean nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it even goes back the other way as well. I think with the win, I think a lot of these sort of issues go out of the window because, I mean, in my view, this is, I'm sure people won't sort of follow me in this point of view, but what I see at the moment around the world is Poland winning. They just have what I see as democracy being run in the correct way. I had this conversation with a work friend the other day, and we were talking about car crime and stuff, and this 1% of car crime being solved in the UK, and just how ridiculous that is because, for whatever reason, getting fines for stupid things and driving in the wrong places. Yeah, so I've forgotten what I was going to say then. I do apologize. Yeah, so yeah, we were talking about Poland, and I said to him as an example, I said, look, I'm completely off the cuff. I'm shooting from the hip here. I bet you that Poland don't even rank in the car crime world demographic chart sort of thing, just straight off the bat. And I said, I bet you that's the way. And we did, and we checked, and we went onto the worldwide statistics of car crime, and Poland aren't even on the list because it's that low. And I said to him, because the reason for this is because the Polish government and the Polish democratic system actually works. So if there was an upsurge in car crime, then that would be an issue. And the Polish people would want something done about that. And when they say they want something done about it, the government actually listen, and they would stop this car crime from happening, whether it's being heavier handed or, increasing the, the prison sentences or whatever for these things. It's the same with, with their immigration policy. You had the Polish foreign minister on on live TV with the BBC a couple of months ago, and the BBC were basically trying to slander this guy and saying like, "You're a racist. Your policies are not what we would expect from a Western country and stuff." He's like, "Hang on a second, don't. This isn't about me or my opinion of anything. It's my job to enact what the people want, and we had a vote on it, and they voted whether they wanted Muslim immigrants coming into our country, and there was a unanimous no. So we've done what our people say, and we're protecting our country, and doing as our nation have actually asked us to do. So this whole notion of we're never going to get to the point where we can take back enough power to actually make differences. I just don't believe that. I believe we can get to a point where, we can sort of follow the lead of countries like Poland, like Hungary, with their, where they're sort of dealing with their decline in population and ethnic groups declining within their country. They've solved these with very simple practices. It's just got to be put into power. That's all it is. And at the moment, we've got a government that don't want these things happening because they're against us. But it doesn't mean that we can't get people into power who can start changing these things around. I'm really sorry. That was an absolute rant. Go on, Rich.
No, it's I agree with you. It's but the biggest issue I think that we have on the dissident side of the fence, and I talk about the wider dissident movement, the freedom movement, call it what you want, is that we're disunified. We have to unify piece by piece. We have to put aside our differences and start realizing that we have to fight these issues issue by issue. We have to face it together. If you disagree with the issue, stand next to another person who disagrees with that issue. Don't look at them and go, "Oh, I'm not standing with them because they're this, they're that, the other." It's irrelevant. It won't mean anything in the future if we fail.
Yeah.
So we have to sort of now start to. And I think what we've all got to do is stop pushing a foot in around with people and saying, "Look, stop talking unity, do unity." You know what I mean? Stop mouthing the words. You've actually got to walk the walk now. You've got to, you've talked. Everyone's heard the talk. Now let's see you do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've said in private conversations before that this isn't a short-term thing either. It's a long process to build trust between people and organizations and things like that. And it always takes that first baby step to just move in that right direction, and just avoid the dramas and just try to stay out of stuff as much as possible. If you have got an issue with someone or whatever, just do it in private. Stop feeding these people the ammunition that they need to use against us to make us out to be, what we're not, which is even more of a shame. But yeah, going on to, the more of the work that we've been doing recently. A couple of weeks ago, we were out in Leeds, weren't we, doing the
This Ends Now roadshow.
This Ends Now roadshow. So we went to Leeds. We started out in the open market, wandering around and mingling with the locals. Spoke to them loads about essentially educating them on the WHO recommendations and things like that, and then the oncoming curriculum issues that we have. And it was really successful, wasn't it, Rich? We got the pasting table out, and we did some real hardcore outreach for a good, we're out 4 or 5 hours, I think, something like that.
It was a good few hours. We were blessed with a lovely day.
It was
I have to say, we were blessed with a beautiful day, and so that made it a lot more pleasant. Good numbers as well. That's always pleasing as well when there's a good few of you there. But yeah, you always get the odd person that disagrees and this, that, and the other. But generally speaking, well received from all sorts of people. Definitely. Across ethnic groups. It didn't matter. This is an issue that crosses ethnic divides, and in many ways, because it's about the sexualisation of children, and we actually had a very, very good day. As is our wont, we went to the pub afterwards because that's the way we socialise in the INN. We do activism first, we work first, then we play. That's how we do it. In case you're always wondering why we keep mentioning the pub, that's because that's our social time. That's when we unwind. But we made it, and have a laugh. We made it our policy that you do activism first because we're primarily an activist group. And but we had a good day. We had a great day in Leeds. It worked well, and thanks to Alec Yerbury for coming along and giving us a lift as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is, this is what needs to happen, isn't it? And again, not to divulge too many of our private conversations, Rich, but like we said just the other day, that it's so lovely to see what we created the INN for and the ethos behind it, to see that being replicated and used in so many different aspects. And we've always said that the INM was never meant to be like a mass movement or even really an organization, so to speak. It's meant to be a way of doing things. It's meant to be like a basic standard of nationalism and a way for people to interact with each other, to share knowledge and to work with each other. And we're seeing that on a bigger scale now, where we would usually create a project, this project to be voted on, and then certain people, whoever has an interest in what we're doing, the time to be able to get involved, then the skills that are needed for that particular project, and then all of these things come together, and then we end up producing something which is a really good project. And we're seeing that now on an organizational level, where you're seeing big protests coming together, and then cross-pollinating through the different organizations. You're actually getting the good speakers from every organization going to each one of these demos, so you're actually getting the good things of all of these organizations kind of coming together to create something that's a little bit better than it would have been before. And I think this is brilliant, and it really, it does my heart good to see things moving along in such a productive way. It's really good.
It's I mean, I'll just throw one in here for Lee, because he hates the word cross-pollination, I know, but you're not wrong in saying cross-pollination, by the way. But yeah, it's what we're actually building here across the board is a patchwork coalition, where each group remains individual, remains independent, but can cooperate, can come together at any time, and that's happening. That's happening organically, and it's now happening on a more contrived level, as people are now starting to talk about this, and it's starting to become a reality. I mean, it was happening organically anyway, as people were just naturally going in that direction. But what's nice to see now is there's more formal arrangements starting to take place.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that can extend right up high down to the to the right down low. I mean, I think you could even expand this to like a real like upper echelon of political movements, but then you could also have it down to the level of like having a food network between people of the same understanding. If we had 100 people growing a lot of food, that might be, there might be a way of all of these different people who are coming together for different reasons actually then find that they might be able to work together on a completely separate project, like, getting fresh food to food banks or something along these lines. Could we all work on agreeing to, I don't know, maybe we could all put our veg together and make a massive vat of soup and go out, and deliver that to people. That would be really cool, to do
I
that.
think, I think, I
These are just
think, as
ideas, but
yeah, but I think, I mean, obviously, as you well know, I've been working with another member, Paul, um,
yes,
and we've been talking to a lot of different groups that would come under the banner more of truthers or general freedom fighters. But a lot of these people now are starting to adopt. We called it the DCP in the early days, deep community politics. But I think a new word I'd rather use to replace that now is localism. There's a lot of movements towards localism going on. Paul's done an amazing. He's done the amazing work in his own area. Paul has got a group in his own area that's probably the equivalent size of the INN in his own area. They're not, INN, but this is a group he's set up of people who are awake and who are now starting to work together. And I mean, he's done amazing work. And we're also, Paul and I will be going in July. We'll be going down to meet some people down in the south of England who've started up community groups, and we're going to go and meet them and have a chat with them. I'm not going to preempt it too much and mention the name of the groups, but we're also now getting approached on the back of the Richard Vobe shows from other truther groups that saw us on that and now want to talk about potentially working together. We're also looking at these community groups, this localism. I think is going to be it replaces the DCP, because what it is, it's people in an area suddenly realizing, like you said, growing food, lots of other different areas, homeschooling, stuff like that. There's lots of different things that can happen, but it's about doing things on a local level and drawing people together, not from a political standpoint, not like we're all nationalists and we're all this, but just
Yeah,
from the point of view that we're all dissidents. We're all generally against the agenda of the narrative,
yeah,
and you can draw large groups together. Like I said, the group that Paul is drawing together is easily of an equivalent size of the whole INN. And that's
yeah.
just a group he's set up in his own area.
Yeah, this is it, mate. This is what we all need to be doing, isn't it? You know, I'd like to say that I'd have such success around here, but I mean, I guess I've kind of just got to the level of knowing and being there for my neighbours, you know, to the point where we really are a community, you know, but actually getting them up and out and doing stuff is not really, you know, sort of possible. But yeah, I was kind of hoping I'd get more of the building site guys on and that sort of stuff. But again, you know, what you hope for in this world and what you get are two very different things a lot of the time, aren't they? You know, it's
Yeah, brother, you've got to keep chipping away at it. It's not something that clicks. I mean, Paul will tell you he's been the most successful out of all of us in implementing the DCP, as we called it, but implementing the idea of localism. He's been by far the most successful activist in the INN, and he's done that by chipping away. And it is incremental steps. It doesn't happen overnight. It really is something that you have to just keep building on and building on and building on.
yeah,
The important point is to concentrate on what you agree on and try and park the differences for now.
yeah, for sure,
That's the
absolutely.
key.
And reduce that dependency on the system. You know,
Yes.
that's, you know, try and just get. I'm not saying run to the woods and, you know, and disappear or whatever. If that's what you want to do, crack on. But you know, it's simply a matter of, you know, if food shortages are coming, don't really care, mate, because we were on this years ago. You know, we'll be
Mm.
fine if that happens. You know, and down to various other things. But you know, that's the sort of community that we aspire to sort of be. I've just noticed that the color of my forehead matches the color of your wall there, Rich.
Yes, you've been on a roof though, haven't you?
It's out on the farm and roofing, and yeah, I've certainly caught the sun recently. But other than that, mate, I think that's a pretty good update, isn't it? Unless I've missed something. We had Leeds, we had Skegness,
Yeah.
upcoming stuff. We've got the 10th of June is coming up, which I believe has been organised by the Yorkshire Patriots, also run by a fantastic man, Dave. I'm absolutely proud to call him my friend. I'm sure he'd say the same in return, hopefully. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that on the 10th of June. And also, we found out this morning that we're going to be doubling that up with another bit of activism, which I'm not going to mention the time or date of just in case, because I'm not 100% sure if that's public knowledge. But anybody who's in the Leeds area over at the 10th of June, please let me know. Come into my DMs and give me a message, and we'll see if you want to get involved with what we're doing there. Otherwise, Alec Yorbury's page is a really good resource to find protests that are coming up, because it's, you know, they're regularly updated on there, and we'll try to post as much as we can on our channel. But yeah, other than that, I think that's just about covered it, hasn't it, Rich?
I think he pretty much has. I mean, as we said, April was incredibly busy. We've got obviously the back end of May. We've had a little bit of a break last weekend, and this weekend we've been busy. I'm not sure what I can say and what I can't, but because obviously this is pre-recorded, but by the time this goes out,
That
what
will
will
have
have
happened.
what will have happened will have happened.
That's it, which we can't talk about. So,
Not
but
really,
yeah,
no, but yeah,
it's
look,
all really exciting. If we do get to
it's
talk
very
about it,
exciting, and it's the way we have to go forward.
Absolutely. And as always with the INN, we move forward with respect. So, we're not going to divulge until we're sure that everyone else is in agreement with us divulging. So, not to be cryptic, to keep everyone on the edges of their seats, but yeah, trust me on this, that great things are coming. Just get yourself some smart clothes and some train tickets booked to these protests, because things are going to be moving along very quickly.
Yeah, and if you're interested at all in the INN, you can contact myself, Joe. You can contact us through our page, through our email address, which Joe will repeat in a minute because he knows it off by heart. But just be aware, we'll send you an inquiry pack if you're interested in finding out more about us. But just be aware, as I said earlier, we are an activist organisation. If you become a prospective member, you get 3 months. 3 months to prove that you're an activist, because we only accept activists. We're not interested in people who want us, all due respects, but we're not interested in people who want to just chit chat on the internet. We're not an internet chit chat group. We're an activist group.
Absolutely. An activist doesn't mean necessarily having to be there in person. I just want to sort of, with that little caveat that, obviously some people can't physically get to these things, with disabilities or whatever, but there's always stuff that you can do in the background. All you have to do is ask. And I'm sure, you can find your place in the movement, and contribute wherever you can, really. Because we've got
Yeah, I
some
mean,
amazing people who can't move
yeah.
around, who do great work for us, whether that's designing or editing or any of these things are a massive help. But the thing that's going to win this for us, as Rich rightly said, is getting people on the ground, and that needs to be the main focus on things.
Yeah, and I would like to say this as well, because we might not be, when you read our inquiry pack, we might not be the type of organisation that suits you. There are other organisations out there. Inquire about them, find out about them.
Get
Things are
involved.
changing. Things are changing in between the organisations. There's a lot closer cooperation going on. So we're not saying ours is the best. What we're saying is there will be something to suit everybody out there. Just look for the one that suits you. Join,
Certainly.
do something, join, be constructive.
Absolutely. I can't second that enough, Richard. And just before I forget, because we usually have a banner running along the bottom here giving the information, but if you do want to contact, the email is innuk@protonmail.com. And if you want to contact us through Telegram, the main page is t.me/Independent Nationalist Network. YouTube, the same, with the YouTube sort of log, Independent Nationalist Network. Any of these things, we generally monitor them relatively frequently. So yeah, you can contact us through there, and yeah, we'll push you in the right direction, or any information that you wish. So thanks, Rich. Thanks for coming today, matey. I'm going to
No
go
problem,
and
mate.
enjoy some sunshine and plant some more plants down the plot, I think.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
Good stuff. Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Much appreciated for tuning in. Yeah, we'll get back to the interviews before long, once everything's calmed down. Thanks,
Yeah, we
million.
got some good ones coming up.
Oh, we do. Oh, we do. The best. Okay. Take care, Rich. Thanks ever so much, mate.
Cheers, mate.
See you soon. See you soon, everyone. Bye now. Bye-bye.